You too.
Yes.
Yeah.
Can you guess where am I, Danny?
Excuse me?
Can you guess which room I am? It's
Um, no, I don't see it really. Are you in a bedroom?
now
Oh, you're in my room,
in which is your room?
57. No,
No,
you.
this is 159.
Oh, wow.
You went all the way to the bakery and now you're back?
I already ate my croissant.
Wow. I just met Danny. I took a fast shower, like that was fast time.
I'm very fast.
Yeah. Yeah. Very productive. Fast.
Sometimes not. How are you doing? How's it going?
Good. I just landed yesterday. I think we came with Kate
Nani.
and Nanny. I think around 5, something like this. Yeah, I just found my way slowly here. So I also had a headache. I think it was just lack of water, from the previous days. So yeah. So I went to bed early and I wanted to go to Intermarché today early also.
Nice.
Okay. Maybe I suggest like then one thing is to clarify until what time are we meeting? So there's I guess more up to Danny until what time you have time, Danny?
Yeah, I don't, as I said, I would like to keep it short, like maximum an hour, maybe even 45 minutes today, if that's possible, because it's like a bit crazy here.
Sure.
And
Don't worry.
there's a lot going on. I also thought that this meeting was a bit like a recap session of the overload of information in the last one, if I remember it right. But maybe in the meantime, other desires have come up.
No, I think I think it's a good idea because I mean, just 10 minutes ago, I was start trying, I have just the document open and just trying to see there. Um, mm,
Can
uh,
someone post a document in the chat, please?
I can. Just a second. Or I can do the screen share if you want,
I
if
don't.
that's easier.
Oh no, this is fine. And how are you doing now, too? You good?
All good. I'm
Yeah.
also a little bit disoriented. I mean, I'm at home, but yeah, it's weekend, so I'm like, I woke up and like, oh, I have a meeting, and then I took a shower and like, oh, today we have a meeting. Like I had this like a few times, like going back to this kind of chill weekend moment, and like, oh, we have to do the call. I mean, it's all good, but it's just like I have to wake me up. It's not a weekend. I mean, it's a weekend, but it's work day.
Yeah, I understand.
so
Um,
how should we do this? How do you have a proposition, Danny?
do you have like, I mean, I don't know, do you have like some things that you were like busy with in particular, certain like things that maybe are unclear, or certain desires that you have to continue speaking about something, or is there something in specific you want me to recap, or is it just like everything we talked about?
I think will be good if we, I mean, I speak from my side. That will be good if we um I mean, I think I was trying to do the way how I was trying to recap this for myself was from the overlap, kind of straightforward, then to work. Yeah, from overlap to work menu, then I start getting there. Um, what I will suggest maybe is that I think we could read this out loud and see if there is some questions around this. I mean, so as I said, I'm in the work menu column of it. So until then, I'm following. But I guess maybe we could do the exercise of just reading this um, yeah, maybe with the intention not too much. What I will propose is just to go through in kind of in once, and then if each of us has question or some clarity in some of these words that I guess then we can, yeah, just notice and try to clarify this.
Like to come back
Okay.
later,
Yeah, I mean later, like just in a bit, like just first, I think we just do
like without
fast.
interruption. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Because I have some things that I want to say,
Yes, please.
but I will no, I will add it later. Then I think that's
Sure.
easier. Yeah,
But why don't you, maybe it's good to, if you start with them and then we can take them on board as we go through the material, no?
sure. Yeah,
Yeah.
no, because I noticed that in this menu we mainly talked about like what where we are, and we
Mm-hmm.
didn't really say like what can be like added, like something like a drastic change. Um, and then like one of them I was thinking is like I think that was in the previous homework that I said, like what if we add like we make a robot, but then I thought like we could, like um
Okay.
broaden the scope a bit, like what if we make a I don't know
Okay.
if the word is good, but like a mascot or something kind of like, a new identity.
If I understand you correctly, the way how I
Yeah.
interpret what you're saying is that then maybe we are missing here some kind of column that is more like, I will say, like dreaming column or something where we can just put things that doesn't have to even, like, does this say something to you when I said this? Like there is one, I can imagine one column where perhaps when we just there is an idea like a robot.
Yeah.
Probably we won't have the time to build a robot, but just the idea to have the robot as a potential thought in my move things.
Yeah, so I have like two, like I think I have two things at the same time. Like one is like kind of dream, but also like one thing that's more, oh, Danny's gone. Maybe I continue. So one thing is like, more pragmatic. What can we do with that dream? So, we can't make a robot, but we can probably make some kind of like a mascot, like a mascot in a sense that like a character.
But so I agree with you, but then partly the part that so I agree that I like this idea of like some utopic column. And then doesn't have to be more than that right now. I mean, could be, if you have some specific thought there, you can go there. But I think would be more just as a, I feel it as a proxy, something just,
Yeah, I mean, yes and no. Because the other idea I had is, like what if this we talked I talked to you before, but what if we form like start a band? Because
yeah,
I see that you shared a lot of like, like music that is more like like a pop or like a band.
yeah,
And if I think of it like what if, and also we're talking about the Catedrala where, it's like, music venue, and it will be fun to do a band. Um, but then
no, but
this
so
is
I get it. So
go.
I think I don't, what I think what I'm trying to mention is like, since we are, uh, as there's different information, but I think the intention of the information, it goes in different, I think it's in different places. My, so how to say this? I think I feel there is kind of this idea, for instance, but I like that are other ideas is like yeah, that's what I use, that like a proxy or a holder for something that doesn't have to be resolved right now. Like for instance, just as an example, like your idea like of the robot uh or a band. I think I found it more interesting at this point to just keep it as a proxy and something that is simple as that.
Either way, I mean, it's not like, I'm imposing, but yeah, it's just like something different from
Yeah. So
what we
I
do.
will say like, can you add a column? I can
Yeah,
do
I
it.
can
Yeah, I
do
added now.
okay.
Maybe just can we move this thing? Yeah, we can move it like this.
Yeah.
Sorry, battery died.
Oh,
Um,
I see.
yeah.
No worries.
So we
Sorry,
added
what?
a column. I think what I understood is like you're missing the step where we translate those things into like concrete possibilities, dreams, desires of how to add or come with new images or new methodologies. Is that right?
Right. Yeah, I don't want to like put it like I don't know use topic is the word. Uh, but because on one hand it's like a speculative in a way, but also on the other hand, I want to propose something, like possible to do when, for example, we're stuck, I just talked about, like what if we start a band, like a music band? Um, and that's something that is not easy to do, but it's not, we don't need like tons of money to actually do it. We just have to have a motivation to do it and time.
Hmm.
Um, but I'll just let's just keep it like this for now, and then
The way who are related, because I think I'm not sure I completely understand what you propose. My interpretation of this is as in just a proxy holder for, like, for instance, when you mention, yeah, like the band or the mascot, and I'm interested at this point, I guess, more in just that, because then I can do my thing and then do something more with the word, because I don't know completely if I understand what your idea. But I found in my interpretation interesting in the exercise we're doing with Danny to find somehow, for instance, I see this column somehow. The work that we have been doing is linear, or it comes in this way in that column, in that grid. So I don't see this utopic dreamland column necessary in order. I feel it more as a proxy that I can help me to also to move blockages, maybe. That's what I use the word like proxy, because it comes anyway from things that we are used, or the language that we're working on.
I think if I may say, it makes a lot of sense to add that topic and to add that column, sorry, and to maybe not worry so much about, how it's called or what it is. So it's like whatever it sparks in Naoto adds there. Whatever it sparks in you, you add there, and we don't have to define it for
Yeah,
now. And also, it doesn't have to be realistic. I think it's a good thing also to just be like free associate without fear. And then, of course, later we will be like, yeah, we're not gonna like fly to Mars, but maybe we can like find something that will like do something similar. You know what I mean? Like, so it's
yeah,
like, okay.
yeah.
Um,
Cool. Yeah. I think that we are on the same page.
so we are just, I mean, okay, so we're just going through the whole thing, or we're just going through the work menu, which is what we worked on last time, right?
Work menu, I think that's what we're gonna do now. Like we
yeah,
read it one time just in one go, and then from there maybe already, I guess that will each of us will have something maybe to say in some place. But I will just suggest that for the first time we just do one reading of the text
yeah,
of what is in the column.
Okay, I also added here because one thing is called a work menu, but also just to be very explicit what that means. That means this is like a map or a beginning of a map or a map that we can add to and take from, which kind of symbolizes the gravitational fields that your work, the specific work, is moving in, around, and with, right?
Yeah.
Okay, let
yeah.
me.
Like Jorge would say, attractor. No, that's a bit different, but
It's a bit different, but
Just a bit different, but yeah, like image-wise, I thought I connected them.
Yeah, we could almost speak about this like as locations. Like this is more like, this is like
location, yeah.
what are like the big themes like that we're covering with this work? What will anyway be like read into this work, but where is it also important that we position ourselves, right? So, and maybe just as a
Mm,
small recap, like why are we doing this? So we did all these different exercises to like get to like the key like motivations and ingredients of your work. Like, why are you doing what you're doing? How will certain things that are present in the work be contextualized by audiences no matter what you do, you know? So finding that ground mycelium inside of us, right? To be like also, first of all, now most importantly for the creation, for the upcoming creation process, like when we take dramaturgical decisions, when we take aesthetic decisions, when we basically have questions, you two amongst each other, or we three with each other, is like, what do you think? Is this good? Is this not good? Does this fit? Does this work? Does this not work? So we can go back to this list, right? And be like, hey, does this thing do something around empathy with machine? Does this thing yes, this ingredient is important because it highlights this like gravitational field of the fear of knowing or not knowing, like so then you can basically take a step back from the work also in the creation process, which we all know is a very messy one, and you're in it. So like, but then this will be like a tool that will allow you to like, first of all, take a step back and decide, yes, this is in, this is out, but also will allow you to look at things and sharpen them in the creation process so that they can do more what we've now also identified as kind of the desires of the work, the reasons why this work wants to exist, the reason why you're doing this work, right? Is that clear?
Yeah, that helps a lot to me.
Oh. So it's really like this is a tool. This is a tool that we came up with, right? It's not something that should feel like a prison to you. It should actually it should be helpful, it should be useful, right? Okay, so the themes that we've identified as empathy with machines, the fear of knowing, the fear of ancestry, and the fear of future. Um, and then we said, then what we have in blue, like as other like more things that you're saying about. So someone was saying, I think it was Jorge, that you feel it's best if this is happening spontaneously, like if it's like a genuine feeling. I don't know, do we have to read those too? No, like you were saying, I remember that you said it happened when Naoto speaks Japanese or when Jorge is sharing a personal.
That's what I meant. I think that's what I meant, like to just try to read it once because it's entangled in different things. And so I think maybe we should read it and in one go, and from
Okay.
there maybe trying to do it again and maybe read
Okay.
everything.
So I will read it. Empathy
Yeah.
with machines, fear of not knowing, fear of ancestry, future. Best if it happens spontaneously so one can tap into a genuine feeling. Now to speaking Japanese, Jorge sharing a personal anecdote, allowing yourself to have genuine feelings on stage. Pull a card, it's on the menu or not. Dynamics, overcoming fear of the other, cyberfeminism. The other in the space, the audience technicians, cultivating experiences embodying the meta stability, transition phase of matter substance, overcoming fear of the machine through misuse of technology. Using the stage as an online space, less concern of how to behave, makes people feel at ease to be honest, move like no one's watching. Pause. To not immediately resolve form through reaction. We need strategies for this. How do they look like? Green screen as a space to come together works already. Fear of
Sh-
not being enough.
Should we switch or I can
We
do the
can.
next one? Yeah.
Okay.
Fear of not being enough. from the lens of war, fear of human activity, trust, empathy with machines. To work on, fear of not being enough produces consumerist interaction with machines, and how can we have abundance instead? Pharmacon, cure and poison at the same time. Question is context and dosage. Can we become more precise, intentional with this? And options, just a computer and me is enough. Anti-spectacularity, anti-efficiency, intentional misuse of technology. This could be explicit, but how? In Dani's readings of the piece, she said over-equipped stage, but then how? Austere procedures, non-dependence on state-of-the-art circuits, failures are accepted and welcomed. Fear of death, or fear of existence, uncertainty,
Existential, yeah.
existential. To work on, can this link to death be stronger, more explicit, especially in regards to technology? Can we work on this more? Global health, mental health crisis, what are the links? Also to ecology. What is considered alive? What is animate? Do machines have a soul? Which aspects of humanity do machines group and mirror? Kinosphere, borders, limits, units, transitions. Audre Lorde, Cancer Journals. You can't be quiet. You have to speak up before you die, and or while you're dying. And also a twist on Lorde. Can you dismantle the master's house with the master's tools?
Hmm.
Do you want to do the rest? Okay.
Yeah, I come. Identity. I would like to understand better Danny's reading of the piece. I mean, of this point that was coming from me. Fear of disconnection from family, connected by technology, empathy with machines. Audience is an extended family. Uh, Danger of equalizing relations. What is the essence of horizontality in family that we can use? Not about being family slash belonging. Flipping, quote, this connection to explore connect new connections. What is to belong in online space? Entanglement, codependency between us and machines, also with families, trauma, etc. Misuse of technology, machine as part of family, trickster investigation of entanglement affect of options. Ah, interesting. Um, is there things that resonate with us that we want to share, that we want to stay there a bit, or that we don't understand, that we want to put in the space right now?
Something I felt is it's raw that is good, but also like if we want to come back to this, I want to like summarize or make it a bit more concise.
Hmm.
Yeah, especially because this is something we have to come back to when we're working.
That is one possibility. The other possibility would that you actually do the opposite of that and put this as a map, you know?
Right.
So you just like map those things, which would have the advantage that you can both use the same map, but you will use it in different ways. And that's okay, you know?
Right.
That is something that is you have to think about, you know, if
Hmm.
like what makes more sense to you. Hearing the two of you and seeing your overlaps and also your differences, and also as you have this practice with the cards, I mean, which could be another option, by the way, you could make cards, you know, any kind of form of mapping that allows you to, because what do we want from this again? We want this to be a grid without it locking us into a fixed position, narrative, choreography, right? We want this to become a compass that will give us the security, the comfort, and the precision we need to feel good. But at the same time, we want it to also be the frame that allows us to play, you know? So anything that works, like a card works because it's like the principle of tarot. You pull a card, you know? The map works because you will use the map differently than you know? Um, Whatever we can, there's many different ways what we can do with this, but the whole point of it is again that it gives you a grid, it gives you precision. It's a tool that you can use from now on, moving forward when you're in the studio. Also, as a way to discuss things. Also, if you're disagreeing on things, you can fall back on it. You know, like this is, and so my suggestion would be that whatever you do with this, however you decide to digest this for your process, will be something like this map or this cards, or you know, that you can use in various different ways. I think that is better than to now try to make it. I mean, it's not on one or the other, because also if you make it in cards, you can be very concise on the card. You know, it's not like either concise or a map. It can also be both there. But does that make sense?
Yeah, I mean, and also my feeling from this is that I feel that, for instance, Naoto has already this practice with cards, and I like I work with maps sometimes, or I can see this in a map, but and also I would like then to see how Naoto what Naoto does with cards, and that doesn't mean that I'm gonna go and not share with Naoto, but what I'm doing in the map, or also the other way around. But I think. That's my feeling on there.
So maybe like if I hear you correctly, it could also even make sense to do both. That like
Yeah,
time
I
you
think
make
that
an app and now to mix cards.
I think that that could be a way to go. Yeah.
Nice. Okay, shall we talk about some of these points, like so maybe that we can maybe add more information or kind of make it more concise, as Naoto was saying. So like do you want us to talk about all of them, or is there maybe some that you have more need to talk about than others?
Is that a question for Naoto, for both?
For both of you.
I think like now, if I speak for what I need, is the column, for instance, like I don't understand the next column for what was the purpose of the next column?
The next column is coming much later. Between
Okay.
now and the next column is like a creation process, you know.
Okay.
It's like I think it's something to come back to when you've been 1 or 2 or whatever many weeks in the studio. It's something to start already when all the things have taken form, you know, to then really start thinking, okay, how are those things specifically translating with the audience? How are we touching or increasing our capacity to touch the audience around the fear of the other in the piece? You know, then we can go back to the menu and see, okay, where are we achieving, or where do we at least prepare the soil for this touching to happen where we want it to happen. Of course, we never know if it's going to happen, but we can do our work, right? So this is much later. So, and then you talk dreamland for that, because that is like just a kind of dream. What could we do to, you know, like now just saying, let's build a robot, like, you know, like new ideas, new brainstorm, new, okay, you have a lot already, but maybe now in this process something popped out that's not there already. Or maybe something's already there and you just have an idea of how to twist it and so that it becomes something else, you know? Um, so all of these things you can write in this dreamland a column.
Yeah. Um, maybe so. Um, because so we're gonna be with Naoto together, but in August. And but beforehand already we are going to prepare some things. I mean, I would call that physical, like a website. I see it then physical in the work. We need to start working on prototyping web interfaces. So I'm mentioning this is that somehow that you can see, for instance, in this column in
I think it would be very nice. And this column, I think, has two, it's a good question, has two functions, the way I see it. Is now when we speak for to collect new ideas, but as a next step, also to write down all the things that are already in the piece, you
are
know?
we talking on the touching the audience column?
No, no, we're talking about the touching the audience columns, we're now going to forget about until like mid-August. Okay. So in a way you can do.
But I think that's the question. If it's not possible to not completely forget because we gonna have work. Yeah, because we part of the work is mediated by this.
Okay,
So
then leave it there, but still, I think in any case, I think there's work to be done before we are busy with that. And that
okay,
can also be earlier than mid-August. But all I'm saying
yeah.
is you have already like, okay, let's take this concrete example. You're now going to work on a website. Can you tell me more about this website? What is the point of this website? Why are you building it? Is it representational? Is it part of the work? Like which of these points is it connected to? Like let's just like do the exercise on the example of this website that you is going to build.
Can we let's take the example of what you have built already now, too, like
Right.
the what we use. Like let's do it from that place.
Yeah. Sorry, I was thinking something that is I think I know what both of you are talking about. And the problem here is that because Jorge's, I think your point is that we're going to work on this workshop segment, right? That
Not
we
only
have,
not
but for example, that we have explicit interaction with the audience. And but I'm trying to think like because I think Danny's point is more as a conceptual or like how or what audience would get from the well how they interpret the performance, not so much. Well, it's always related to how they interact with the performance, but I see that interaction, the workshop side is more like a pragmatic, like how we do it, how we perform, and touching the audience. What Danny is referring to is more about like how we. It's not the refinement, but mm, how to say. I don't know what's the right way to frame it, but I can understand why you're saying that it comes later in the process. But it's not doesn't mean that we have to work on the audience interaction at like later in the August. Like we can already start it, but more as a like on the pragmatic, like developing the website, how we have the audience use the computer, but they're not like how to say like I don't know like I'm trying to like bridge you two
no,
are
yeah, no,
thinking.
I thanks for doing that. But I think so just hang like let's just stay here for a second because I think this is what it comes from my research in dancing technology seems this is the muddy space. Like because I think the modality that we are trying to work is based on what so that's why we asked Danny to do this work. And then Danny is proposing us this that it comes from the modality of working on the space with yeah in the space with so and part of our practice is working with the systems and this has a different modality yeah that's so that's the space that we are right now so um my feeling now is that I think we that I think so Danny we invite Danny to propose something in this process so I will trust Dani in for instance when she said like let's do this forget for this right now. But I think in our process then now, so then I think we should then somehow start like doing some reflection at some point of when is that we need to start prototyping things because we need to get yeah
But hold
interfaces.
on, because I don't know, but so this is I didn't know that you're now going to design the workshop before you go into the studio. Okay, that's new information for me. And maybe because I see your point also, Jorge, because I mean the whole point of doing this then, if I understand correctly, is to create this interactive moment with the audience, right? So then I think there needs to be it's good to spend a minute on this before you go into it, especially if time-wise, of course, you want to do that before you go in the studio to not lose that time. And
Yeah, I mean, there's a specific case, for instance. We start the residence the 3rd of August, but I also am going to a camp in Slovenia to do a workshop. So I arrive 1 week before and I go to this camp about art and technology, and there I will present a take on the workshop that we are gonna af afterwards doing with a completely different setup because this is in the mountains in a camp. So I will be doing the workshop. Now it's not gonna be there, but we will prepare the workshop together. And that workshop, a form of that workshop will be on the piece at the end.
okay, what is the workshop about? Tell me about it.
I think in short is practically speaking, is about movement and live coding a bit. So, but in wait,
You want me to jump in or?
yeah,
Yeah,
maybe.
because we worked on a text recently, but it has like two aspects. So one is like live coding that the audience doesn't have to code by themselves, but then that's where the website idea comes in, that we offer something that they can kind of like simulate coding just
Mhm,
by clicking, and yet they can still create their own images with their body.
mhm. Can you send me the
Something,
text
yes.
on the chat? Or,
And
yeah.
um, hmm, I don't know if I can find it.
Oh
I
no,
will.
but not now, like later when we hang.
Okay, okay,
Okay.
I'll do that. Yeah. Um, and the second, I mean, the other segment is about the body. We work with an object. Um, I forgot what the idea was. Actually, this is something that we have to,
Yeah,
Jorge and I will discuss next week
Okay, but this
to
is a
look
real
at content.
workshop, right?
this
It's
is
a
a real
real
work.
workshop. So it takes like how many hours? Like two.
I think we'll take the way how I proposed it was to have two sessions of 2 hours. So
Okay.
early in the camp, and I think now the way how I see it practically is so people stretch, move somehow, and then I propose then between doing this body practice with an object that you have some attachment. So we are proposing to bring some object that they would like to dance with, and then after doing some movement, then the idea is that they will start filtering their body image to their computer, and
Hmm.
yeah, that has to be.
We can aim for that.
You were saying it has to be.
Just give me a second, please. And what is it? Here. 24. Beef camp hybrid. This one. Okay. Because then it's easier than just rambling. I also share that link in the chat. But so this is beef camp hybrid, beef camp hybrid here. I propose a twofold workshop approach. So the first part is a Hydra introduction, 1 of 2 hours. Dive into Hydra, creating abstract images and body filters using the interface. So no live coding is required. And the second is an embodied practice. So explore embodying objects and connecting with nature, since we're gonna be in the mountains in Slovenia, through performative practices. We might bring laptops and try to code from the previous workshop, which will happen organically. These sessions offer seamless blend of technical and body practices, fostering a deeper connection with ourselves and the natural world. The workshop will wrap up with a feedback session, offering a chance for reflection and sharing experiences. The input of the participants will be, we will take it into account for the upcoming performance. That's the framework. That's how we frame the.
Okay. This sounds like super interesting and it sounds like a real workshop, you know. In the piece, what you're doing is not a real workshop. Can we like, is that right? Or is it supposed to actually be a real workshop? Because like how, I mean, my question is like, how real can a workshop of 15 minutes be, you know? So
Okay.
it's like a
Good.
performative aspect to the workshop in the piece, which is related to, I'm sure, a lot of workshops you're doing and they're real, you know,
Mhm.
but again, is a translation process happening. It's not like a one-to-one. It's not like, oh, you take like 15 minutes of the work. You will use your experience of the rehearsal that you have in real life. You know, there's an interesting mirror of this. You're to guide a group, to host a space, to talk about certain topics that are also real topics that you're working with. It's not like that. It's doesn't make it fake. It's not fake also, but
Uh-huh.
it's not a, you know, is it is a performative element. It's a tool. It's not a real workshop. There's no
Yeah.
like, or if we really want it to be a real workshop, like we have to think about it differently. The way
Yeah.
I understand it from what I've seen, it is a dramaturgical element. It is a interactive element. It is also an aesthetic element. It is a,
Right.
uh,
Totally.
you know, so,
Yeah. Thanks
and
for
this
that.
is,
Yeah.
yeah,
So yeah, no, thanks for that, because actually, like, until now that you mentioned it, I was just thinking that as a workshop, but of course, then to make it work in that temporality as a workshop is like, of course, but it's, yeah, of course, totally. I agree with you what you're saying. It is, so it's not a fake workshop, but yeah, thanks for sharing that. Yeah, that yeah, that.
Yeah, I mean, I also have like a lot to say, so probably like we carry this on to the next
no,
call that
go
I
for it. We
guess
can
we
talk
have.
for 10. No,
No,
go.
no, because the initial like how we started is like basically when we were in Slovenia, like February, well, I guess mostly like Jorge came up with this idea of like let's do a workshop, and basically Jorge asked me like, okay, let's do a 15-minute Hydra workshop, and I was like, whoa, like I can't do this. So the
One day
actually
before the perform, one day before the.
no, but yeah. So especially because like I noticed immediately that I will be like performing there for like 30 minutes and then like immediately like switch to workshop for 15 minutes. Like I can't do this. So the solution we did is like you saw in the video that I like pre-recorded. The actually that was pre-recorded, like 10 minutes of video. So I go to the backstage, but we just like play the video that I'm just talking through, but that's not really a workshop, but I say it more like a tutorial video.
Yeah.
Explain to me, go one step back. Explain to me why you decided to put a workshop into the piece.
I mean, the decision was made fast in the idea of we need to we need to work with artificial intelligence, and
Because that's where your funding is coming from.
yeah.
So
So
it was
it was part of the
a,
pressure. It was part of the.
it's
You hear, yeah, now
so
this.
it's a catering to a request that,
We lost you for I
hello?
lost you for a second. Can you repeat what you just said, Danny?
I just asked a question whether it was a catering to a request that came for you to get the funding that you came up with this idea of the workshop. Okay.
I mean, in the application, there wasn't, we never spoke about the workshop. It
Okay, I
was,
know that it was what I remember us talking about. There was some kind of like interaction with the audience,
yeah, yeah.
right?
The
This
project
is
is
that.
about that.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it was about to tackle that part. Yeah, yeah.
So now we're on a fork, okay? One part of the fork is like on a very deep level, like, do you think that the element of the workshop, like, no, let's go even one back. So this is totally okay. You got money to do something that is interactive, okay? I mean, funding bodies, idiotic requirements like taken aside,
Mm.
you came up with a performative solution for this because
Right,
it is a performative solution, right?
right.
So what's also is that it's really funny, right?
Yeah, totally.
It is a very comical element
We
of the
didn't
whole
plan it
thing.
like that, but yeah, yes, exactly.
Yes. Okay. So that's
Yeah.
why I mean we're at a fork now because we can very much roll with the this this tool, this like performative element that has been invented through the circumstances how it got invented.
Mm.
Okay. Because I think there's a lot of possibilities to play with it. But then let's be real, like here talking dramaturgy, then let's be real. This is not a workshop. This is a performative tool, okay?
Mm.
Or we say, no, like for the reasons that are on our menu, it is actually super important to us to have a true interactive element with the audience, which I'm not saying it is. I'm just giving you like the fork options, right? And then is this kind of performative workshop really the best way to achieve that? In going back to our little tool here, in like, for example, achieving some kind of thematicizing one of these things like a fear of disconnection from family or fear of technological death or like any of those things doesn't
Yeah,
matter. But
yeah,
and then maybe we have to do something completely different.
I
I'm
see.
not saying I personally love the element of the workshop, but I did feel the unresolvedness around it. I love the idea of the workshop as a dramaturgical, performative, uh, humoristic, absurd. I mean, it has something quite absurd, element that I think can really be sharpened and be a gem, in the whole thing. Like, but again, it's then we're not really being interactive here.
Yeah,
Like we're pretending something
get
to
your
achieve
point.
something else. And this is a decision you have to take. I'm just telling you dramaturgically, these are at least two options. Maybe you have a third option too that I'm now not thinking about, but you can say, okay, maybe there will be actually an element of interaction. I don't think you need, personally, I don't think you need an element of interaction. And for your funding givers, you can totally sell the performative element of the workshop as what they're looking for. So you're good in any case, like
Yeah,
it's just about what makes the work stronger, right?
right. Yeah,
Which
I
also means your work is maybe different because if we go for the performative element of the workshop, yeah, you have the great opportunity that you're going to go and give a real workshop now, which is a great possibility for you to, I don't know, even
right.
film
Actually, yeah, that's
yourself
interesting. It's
and
interesting because like the what I have to do actually, I didn't thought like that, but I have this is interesting for me because it clarified this the ontology of the workshop. So then I was not separating this thing as a performative tool, the workshop, but then anyway, I have to guide the workshop in in the countryside. That will be a workshop. And that will be interesting then to use the learning from there in the piece. But it's a different body.
Yeah, but the question is, what are you going to look for in the workshop as a research for the piece? You see?
Mhm. Yeah,
It's
yeah.
not, it's not the content of the workshop, you see? So now you have to prepare a workshop, and there it's about, of course, the content of the workshop, the situation, how you interact with the participants, how you facilitate the space, etc., right? Like any workshop.
All
But
right.
but the research kind of that you need to do for your piece is
While in that workshop,
and maybe you can film yourself giving that workshop, and then later you can look at the like the performativity of how you are in holding a workshop, and you can just edit those pieces together as like a gold mine for you to almost like persiflage, or not, it's not about persiflage, but about like understanding, exaggerating the elements of yourself
right?
that are the host of the workshop, right? Or the two of you. So you see, it's like it's just very important what the work is. The work is now not the work for the piece has nothing to do with you preparing the workshop. However, the workshop is extremely useful for you to generate material to generate the performative tool of the workshop in the piece. Does that make sense? It's just like don't sit now and try to come up with a workshop that works as a workshop and also works
That's
for
the
the video.
content. Yeah, that's the content.
Yeah,
Okay. Yeah.
because
It's okay.
possible.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
you good, Naoto?
Yeah, I think it makes sense.
Okay. We can disentangle this talk afterwards together. We do this. Um I found this that you just mentioned, like I didn't thought like that before, and that really opens a lot of possibilities, this actually.
Yeah, and you
Especially
can have
from
so
the
much
work that
fun.
we have also. Yeah, exactly because it's
It's a
yeah,
gold mine.
yeah, and now we have some specific things that we can find kind of like, okay, let's try these things. And we have 2 sessions of workshop there, but we can
But
try
meaning
different goals.
when does the audience come in? It comes in much later because now you're going to prepare your workshop. You're going to observe how you're interacting in this workshop with the audience as a potential performative material for your piece. Meaning, we will anyway have some kind of editing process after that workshop
Yeah,
that is pretty unrelated to the content of the workshop for
totally.
now, that we can then look at, okay, which elements in a workshop in a space are actually giving people like a feeling of this or a feeling of this, and then we can like kind of edit that together, right?
Yeah. That makes
So we can kind of maybe not all the way till you go to the studio, maybe until after the workshop when you want to edit the materials of the workshop and prepare them for the rehearsals of the piece. But still, we can just for now park it a bit later,
to
right?
part, but later the workshop, or what do you mean?
No, this column that why we started now talking about this, when do we do the put the audience and the touching the
The
audience?
touching the audience. Totally. Okay. Yeah, 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 no, totally. Yeah, 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 yeah. Like, yeah, I trust you.
Yeah, I think that's something I wanted to say at the beginning.
Okay, but this is very good. This is already like so one of the tools you can now put on the other list. Hold on, and let me just pull up the doc again. So basically here, not just dreamland, it's like yes, it's dreamland, but it's also existing in a way we can say existing and not yet existing elements, of the piece, So here we can write, okay, we have the workshop. The workshop is, we maybe don't know yet exactly how the workshop is going to look like. And it's not going to be a flying to, or maybe for now we can say it's a flying to Mars workshop, and then later it won't be, or maybe it will be, but we know that there is an element of the workshop. it's booked in the system, right?
Right.
So you can put, does it make sense that we can put, so in a way you could, what you could do is you could go through the video of the last state of the piece and you could try to give all these like elements of what you're doing a name and put them on this list. And simultaneously you could, while you know to make cards from our work menu blueprint, and you, Jorge, make a map of that. Put also on this column here that we just started all the new ideas, questions, dreams, mascots, that pop up. So it's like, does that make sense?
Yeah, the part of the video I didn't understood.
That just a video because that's a reference, like the
Yeah.
video is okay, so you can watch the video of the performance again with some distance, right? And be like, okay, here's this. We have the Brazilian flag. I'm just naming now 10 things. We have the timer element. We have the Brazilian flag element. We have the element of the workshop. We have the element of the interaction wall, or however it's called. The element of the song I Touch Myself. We have the element of the green screen. We have the element of the projection of the trees. We have the element, like all these kind of things that you are like, these things are these things are part of our list of ingredients because they resonate with me with the menu. You might as well look at the video and be like, you know what? That thing with the trees, I was never so sure about that. I don't really understand how it serves any of those things. So, yes, it's there in the video, but I'm not going to put it on the list. You see?
Okay. What do you
Yeah.
mean about the list is the menu thing?
The list is like, it goes together with the menu is like the list of ingredients. It's like one is the kind of like recipe, and then you need to go to Enter Machine and get the ingredients, right?
So you
Okay.
mean this new column is the ingredients?
The new column is the ingredients, exactly.
Okay.
Put into
Okay. Yeah.
Marche.
Okay.
Is it
Intermarché.
is it the
Intermarché.
E with accent or is it?
I don't know.
I
I'm
think it's
like,
with
I don't know.
accent. Yeah.
There's two E's. I don't know. Sorry.
Just one. Yeah. Okay. That makes sense. Yeah. Thanks, Danny. Yeah. So yeah, I think now it's almost 11, so maybe we can wrap up. Maybe
yeah,
if we can find maybe a date where we can see each other, maybe even just to talk, maybe just practical.
okay. After, not doing, it's like not possible for me. It's like now it's going to be really crunch zone until I would say the earliest I can meet is on the 13th of July.
Yeah.
Hello?
I mean, we finished the 12, so I will say yeah, 13, 14. I mean, it's up to you, Danny. I
I
mean,
mean,
now.
14 is a Sunday, but I would prefer 14 to 13 for sure.
Yeah,
I'm gonna
because we just finished on Friday.
I'm gonna be destroyed on the 13th. I know,
Yeah.
right? So I'm already destroyed and it hasn't even started yet.
Yeah. But
No,
now to like now so is it how is your Sunday 14
14 is a tricky one because I
for
will be in
traveling,
the
right?
in the forest. No, like John's birthday.
Right.
So like I would love to say like morning, but I don't think morning will happen, and I really don't know how that
You don't
day
know
will
who is
be.
will be there.
what
Yeah,
about
but
the 15th in the morning then?
You
that
don't
would
know.
be probably better. I'm traveling
Better?
on the 15th, but if we say morning, I think it's gonna work. Yeah,
Like when are you traveling?
on 15th, like in the flight is in the evening,
Okay.
or how's like Sunday
I also,
afternoon? Well,
I
Sunday
also
afternoon doesn't sound good.
I have a flight on the 15th in the evening, so I could do a morning on the 15th.
Let's tentatively book 15th at I don't know like 10 a.m., 11 a.m.,
Let's do 11
11.
or,
Yeah.
or 10 is also fine. But
10.
also, if
10.
if 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 by any chance, like then the 14th seems more possible, like whatever, we can check in about that. 14th, I would tend to do then evening, not morning, but
Right.
So
That
let's
would
do
be good for me actually, but if
Yeah.
Jorge is good with 14th
Yeah,
evening,
I'm here. So yeah, evening also is good. So
yeah, I would prefer that. Yeah.
let's
Danny
do the
proposed a
14th
time.
at 6.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So maybe just do that.
Okay, dears, I really have to run. I have
Yeah,
the
Danny, don't
whole
worry. Like
crew
we
like
talk
waiting
afterwards
for
some
me.
practical things.
Have a nice
Thank you
day.
so much. You too. Bye
What
bye.
time is yours? Is that at 1, 2, your open
From
rehearsal?
1 to 2, it's open and you can just walk in. There won't be an introduction or anything. You can just run in. Ciao.
Ciao,
Ciao,
babe.
ciao.
Good luck.